All right, I am going to talk about an idea that should be universal, pretty much for almost everybody. I always hesitate because I'm always worried that I never like to overshoot something, so I don't like to say like everybody, and there might be like two people in the world that are not, or like 10 people in the world that are not in there. You know what I mean, or a percent or 2% that's not in there. Anyways, this is something. Let's just use everybody as a generic term or a general term. So this is something everybody deals with. Marshmello, who's a very good DJ, by the way. I've heard two of his songs, and he does a side, he has a song called "Moving On" and a song called "Summer," and these are the only two songs that I know of Marshmello's. So, moving on is graduation day for his high school. All the kids are graduating, yearbooks are being signed, blah, 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 blah. People are taking the graduation photos and everything. By the way, I never took any graduation photos when I graduated high school. I there just wasn't any motivation, to be honest. It was a shitty high school, and a lot of people didn't show up, and nobody really gave a shit about that place. It was a piece of shit. It was an actual slum. Okay, it was a slum, and it was shitty, and it was literally, well, while I was going there, it was literally rated as the lowest. Now, it wasn't meant to shine light on it. The light was on the top 10, and then because they put it in that way, it was the last one. Which is the reason why I chose it, because I didn't want teachers giving a shit about me while I'm in school, and I wanted them not giving a shit about skipping school and things like that, or skipping classes and things. Not that I was a bad kid. I was like, well, why go to class when I can go eat some food right now? You know what I mean? So, anyways, skipping into that. So it's called "Moving On," and it's graduation stuff, right? And I like to start that's the typical, because they have graduation from elementary, college, high school, promotions, moving on to new companies, blah blah blah, right? But the thing is that how do you react when in that situation? You know what I mean? Everybody knows that situation. Like I said, remember, in one of my previous videos, I've said that, at level 0, at level 1, it is possible to have somebody that's innocent, and you may have a lot of pieces of shit who do petty crimes and things like that at that level 1. Now, I could be in that level with them simply because I am not able to grow. You know what I mean? Everything about me may seem very smart or whatever, but my inability to grow, and it means that I'm staying at that level, even though I'm not taking part in activities or doing actions or whatever that people in that level may be doing, right? But we all move on at a certain point. You know what I mean? It's no. Now, I know that typically early years is when this happens, but that's because you have been growing since the beginning. You know what? Honestly, I'm a different kind of human being, right? And I'm not saying that nobody else is. There are just people who are just different kind of human beings. I've seen people who are just different kind of human beings. It happens. It's almost genetic. You can spot them genetically. But yeah, some people are just different human beings. I didn't grow all that time. I just started growing. I've talked about that a million times. But the point is that obviously I was gonna move on. You know what I mean? Obviously I was gonna move on. I'll be honest. Prior to that happening, I had already been trying for months to move on. I've been trying months to grow, and it was starting to take some people off. I'll tell you something. I felt myself grow more and past the level of your average black people. Your average black person is at a certain level. I shared that level with them, that space, and that persona. But the moment I started growing, I was gonna leave them in the dust, and that's just a fact. Then you have organizations. I don't want to talk negatively. You have certain organizations, and I mean, like, and the thing is that they're not doing anything for you. They're not even claiming you. They're almost wishing that you wouldn't be in their organization. You know what I mean? Like, they're trying to get you taken out of their organization, but for some reason they're not able to, and they're annoyed, right? But I'll tell you a secret, I was never in either organization. That was a misconception. I was never part of the black scene, number one. I was never part of any kind of low-level thug kind of scene. I was never in any low-level thuggish, ruggish kind of scene at all. I was in the shadow world, and there were people who knew, but it's not something that people wanted to talk about. Within that world, I had done pretty much a perfect job, and they knew about that. Anyways, aside from that, but that's the thing. That's a misconception. I was never part of you guys. You know what I mean? I was never part of you guys. I do accept that I was a level 1 person, but I will say one thing. When I was at level 1, I was probably the best in my class. Okay, if I wasn't the best in my class when I started something new in level 1, I was within 3 to 6 months. On average, within 3 to 6 months, I would be the best in that beginner class. Okay, it's not like I'm staying in grade 1 for 3 years and I'm the best. It's that I start any kind of activity or whatever you want to call it, like lifestyle activity, and within 3 to 6 months, I'm the best in my class. I'm being noted that, wow, he's got a lot of potential. Or another misconception used to happen, and people used to say to me, well, you've been doing this way longer. No, I haven't. You've been doing this way longer. No, I didn't say no, I haven't. But I got that. Oh, you have so much more experience in this. You've been doing this a long time. And I would just smile and say nothing because I took it as a compliment that they thought that I was better, that I had been doing this a long time in order to be that good. And I did it in a short amount of time to get that good with a small amount of resources. But I didn't tell them that. Obviously, that would just kind of make the situation a little more tense than it needed to be. But I got that all the time. Oh, you've been doing this a long time. Come on, man, you've been doing this a long time. You know what I mean? Anything I did, oh, you've been doing this. You've just been doing it your whole life. It was to the point that people thought I was scamming people. People thought that I was just scamming people. That I was pretending to be at level 1. You know what I mean? And I was not. So that's another misconception. One misconception is that he's with people who are much higher. Another misconception is he's with people who are much lower. No, not with any of you guys. Not with any of you guys. If you get kicked out of society and you're an outcast, you're not in the shadow world. Let me clarify that. If you're a thug or you're a petty criminal or you do piece of shit things, you are not in the shadow world. That is a misconception. You may want to hang on to the nuts of someone who's in the shadow world, and you will fail. But you're not in the shadow world just because you're an outcast or you did something stupid or that's a piece of shit thing. No, you will not be in the shadow world because of that. Okay, being in the shadow world, you have to actually be in the shadow world, and I was level 1 at that time. But anyways, but that aside. You know what I mean? All that aside, where am I getting at with this? Yeah, all that aside. So back to the point is people move on, man. It happens all the time. It's just that it typically happens in younger years. You know what I mean? Up till like the teenage years, and then it becomes kind of steady. People become adults or whatnot. But I had a very late growth, and I think that's something that should be understood so that people don't think I'm scamming them. That I did have a late growth, just started growing, and when you do really well anyways, I've already talked about that. So that's the deal. People are gonna move on. You know what I mean? Even if I'm not at that level anymore, genuinely. You know what I mean? I am genuinely not at the level that now I'll tell you, prior to this change that occurred those months ago, I had to literally. It was to the point that I told you I was on a treadmill. I was just doing my best to do I was getting better at it, but I was just doing the best that I could on that treadmill. Kind of changing my treadmill, changing it to a newer or a harder treadmill, and expending more energy on there. You know what I mean? In order to keep up. But at this point, I haven't had that issue in almost in those 3.5 months or whatever it was. I haven't had that issue. But I moved on from that. I am at a higher level now. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that I'm Bill Gates or I'm at the highest level in the world, but in general, I'm at a higher level. You know what a higher level is? Higher level is when you see somebody that intimidates you. Higher level is when you see somebody who beats you, even at your own game. You might play your own game with them, and I gotta be honest, I didn't do this on purpose. This is my nature. I didn't do this on purpose. This has happened to me quite a few times now. You have people who got their own little game and they're really good at it. And I didn't intentionally mean to do this. It's just that they start talking to you, and then eventually you get better at their game than they are. And it's probably one of the biggest insults that somebody can have, no matter how amazing. You know what I mean? It's like Kobe Bryant beating Tiger Woods in golf. You know how Tiger Woods would feel? You know what I mean? He would just be stunned. He'd be stunned and shocked at the same time. He'd be like, okay, I get Kobe is an excellent basketball player, probably one of the best of all time. But how the hell is he beating me in golf, man? I am a golfer. I've been golfing since I was a child. He's been playing basketball since he was a child. How is he beating me at golf? Now forget about Kobe Bryant. It's not even Kobe Bryant. It's like let's say a rookie college player, like a freshman, or a senior, like a freshman. Okay, now freshman college player, which Kobe Bryant skipped it and went straight. So, but I'm talking about like a college freshman at the time beating Tiger Woods in golf. He's like, dude. I mean, I get he's stellar as a freshman. He's probably the best freshman there is in basketball. This is a different game though, and I'm much at a much higher level. How is he beating me all of a sudden? But to help him and make Tiger feel better about himself, what would he say? He'd say, "Listen, dude, here's the deal, right? I spent a lot of time I haven't grown past one point. You know what I mean? I've stayed in a shell for so long. I've been playing with what do you call it? I've left basketball, and this is real. I've left basketball to play soccer, to play football, to play rugby, to play all that stuff. I've done all that different stuff. I started to grow and get better. And I've been playing golf for a little while now. I don't feel ashamed to lose to me, man. It is not a shame to lose to me right now. Take it as an honor, man. I mean, you lost and I did better at your game, but it was gonna happen, man. It was bound to happen. These are boys' games. These games are boys' games. You know what I mean? The shark game is at a level that you cannot understand because you would get eaten. Tiger, I put you in the water and you'd get eaten. There was a croc rat to come onto the land to eat you or up the tree. If I had to chase you up the tree, I chase you up the tree and I eat you and you die, man. You know what I mean? You don't want to play that game with me, Tiger. You know what I mean? This is a boys' game, man. I didn't beat you at a big thing. It's a different level, man. Don't feel bad about it.